Okay, let's move on because we have to talk about lounges today. This is one of our favorite topics, or at least mine, because lounges make your travel day so much better. And it's become one of the main reasons why people get high-end travel credit cards.
Yeah, Amex has been dominant for a long time, but over the past few years, we've seen a big surge from the competitors, and it's really shaken up the lounge landscape.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to talk about what each of these lounge networks offer, and we're going to focus on Amex Centurion, Chase Sapphire, and Capital One lounges, what they offer, what can be improved, and then what is the best fit for your travels. So, Chris, let's kick it off with the Chase Sapphire Lounges.
So the Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club. So these are run by this lounge company called the Club, and these are Priority Pass lounges actually. And there are currently 9 of them, with 2 more coming soon. So there's one in Hong Kong, there's one at New York JFK, LaGuardia, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Diego, Washington, and Boston. And by time of recording, so by the time this comes out, the new Las Vegas lounge is going to be brand new. So that's going to be good to see. And then there's also one in Dallas and LA coming. So these are really great lounges. Katie and I both really enjoy visiting these lounges. I spent pretty much the whole day there at JFK the other last month.
Oh, you
And
spent the
to
whole day at the JFK one?
Yeah,
Sad.
I know, the worst one in in the
Yeah,
network, but
Chris, we're going to
it was
talk about that in the next segment.
there was some invisible lounge next to it. I couldn't see what it was.
It's downstairs.
I
That's why
could
you
smell
didn't
there's
see
a
it.
lot of cheese coming from the other one, so I avoided it. But
Now we've lost
these
all of our listeners and they have no
yeah,
idea what we're talking
for our
about.
lactose intolerant listeners,
Stick
please avoid.
around.
Then yeah,
Stick
stick
around and we'll
around.
tell you. Go on. Sorry.
If you want to get into one of these lounges with far less cheese, if you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, the Ritz Carlton card, or the JP Morgan Reserve card, these can all get you in. Now, guest policy, that's where things are going to vary a little bit. You can get in with 2 free guests if you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. So this is a nice option for a lot of our listeners. A lot of people have this card. Now, the Ritz Carlton card, that one comes with unlimited guests. So this is a little hack. This card is not available for new applications. But if you have a Chase Marriott co-branded card and you've had it for at least 12 months, you can call and request a product change to this Ritz Carlton card. This card has a $450 annual fee at the time of recording. But with unlimited guests, this could be a no-brainer and well worth it for families, because this card also has a long list of other benefits as well. So that's a nice one. These lounges, let me just step back one sec. I mentioned that these lounges are a Priority Pass lounge. So if you have a Priority Pass from any other card, you actually get 1 visit per calendar year. So if you have an Amex card or a Capital One card that has a Priority Pass, you will be able to swipe that pass once to get into any Chase Sapphire Lounge in the world once per calendar year. So don't forget about that. It's a nice little trick there. Talking about what these lounges have in LaGuardia, this is one of the nicer of the
It's
of
one
the
of my
lounges.
favorites.
Yeah, I've not been there yet. I guess
It's great.
I need to go on a little lounge tour. This one has a spa with free facials, so
And they're
sounds
quite
awesome.
nice. I've tried
Katie is
them. They're
our
great.
resident expert in lounge spas. In Boston, she spent a lot of time in the massage chair,
I
so
did.
much that she had to go buy one for herself.
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Totally
then
worth it though.
in Philly has a spot in a game room, and I've seen photos of that one. That looks really good.
It's really
Um,
cool. Yeah.
as Katie mentioned, as I mentioned, I spent the day at JFK, and as Katie kind of snuffed about, the JFK lounge has absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
So
I don't
I
get that
used
one.
my
I just don't
my
get it.
one priority pass there. It was still worth it because I ate and drank the whole day, and it was great. It was it was better than sitting anywhere, in obviously in the terminal. But
No,
yeah,
Chris, actually, the
there's no
JFK
spa.
Lounge, we have to be fair, it does have one thing. It has
What?
a long line all the time and really snarky front desk attendants or front door
That's
attendants.
true. Yeah,
Every time I've tried to get into that lounge, there's a wait, and the people at the front like are not happy to be there.
it's
And
true.
forget it if you try to get in on a layover over that 3 hours, they do not care. So
Yeah, so I'll
not my
second that.
favorite. Not my
So
favorite lounge there.
I got in early. So I mentioned that I was there all day because my flight kept getting delayed. So I got in exactly 3 hours before my flight, but then my flight was delayed another 5 hours. So
Mm,
I was there. I got in at the
gamed the
sweet spot.
system there, Chris.
Yeah, I knew that was a potential that could have happened. So I knew I needed to get in quickly before it started getting delayed. But once I got in, the staff was incredible. But I agree that like the out by the front, it was crazy because Ryan came to say hi to me, one of our fellow writers, our news editor, and they were like bouncing us away from the door. Like, you cannot talk here, get
Mhm.
out of here. So we had to like go near the elevator to hang out for a couple minutes. So I agree with that sentiment there.
Yeah, yeah, don't get that one.
All right, Katie, is there anywhere
Okay.
else perhaps at JFK that you would prefer to spend some time?
Cheese. Where would
Cheese.
I go? Cheese? Oh god. So yeah, there's a little thing I like to call the Capital One lounges, and I'm
No,
giving
never
Chris
heard of
a
them.
hard time because a few episodes ago he admitted that he had never been to a Capital One lounge, and I'm not going to let him
Scorned.
forget that.
Scorned for life.
Um, so this network, there are currently 6 locations, so it's a lot smaller than, well, not a lot, it's a little smaller than the Chase Sapphire collection. Um, 6 current locations, 1 on the way. There is Dallas, Denver, Las Vegas, JFK, Washington Dulles, coming soon to LaGuardia, and that is a Capital One landing coming soon to LaGuardia. And then there's also a Capital One landing at Washington Reagan. And the Capital One landing is just a little bit different than the full Capital One lounge. It is more of a restaurant concept. So they call it an elevated food and beverage and essential airport amenities like luggage nooks and private restrooms. So think more restaurant. These are done, the Capital One landings are done in partnership with the Jose Andres Group. So it is definitely more foodie focused. You're going to have a restaurant experience, and it's different than the lounges. But I've not been to one of those, but I'm sure they're quite nice based on
They sound
how many
nice.
times I've been on the regular lounges. To get access to these, you need to have the Venture X or Venture X business card, and your authorized users have access currently. The bad news is beginning on February 1st of 2026, um, authorized users are losing their lounge access. If you're a primary card holder, you will be able to pay $125 a year for each additional card holder for them to maintain their lounge access, which
Okay,
could make sense in some
sure.
situations. And then the Venture X card holders are also losing their guest privileges, which is a big bummer because currently until February 1st, you can bring in 2 guests with a Venture X card. If you have a Venture or a Spark Miles card, you can purchase passes to the Capital One Lounge for $45 each. So for you and your guests, $45 each. It could make sense.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, depending on your
so
how
yeah,
long your layover is and
absolutely,
how hungry
absolutely.
you are.
And Capital One's actually really good, about if you're on a long layover, they do not give you trouble if you're coming
Oh,
in 8
okay.
hours ahead of time. I've done that many times. So unlike the Sapphire Lounges,
Oh, okay, good to
um,
know.
yeah, so like I said, right now you can bring in 2 guests for free. That changes on February 1st. One thing I do like about the Capital One lounges too is in the Capital One app, you can easily see the wait times, like, if the lounge is busy, and you can join the wait list really easily through their app. Easier than some of the other some of the lounge networks. So let's talk about features of the Capital One lounges. They hands down have the best grab and go options. They really came out swinging with their first lounge at DFW with a really strong grab and go game, which the other lounges really don't have. I would say the Sapphire and Centurion lounges go out of their way to make it
Yeah,
hard for you to take anything out of the
it's
lounge.
true.
Whereas Capital One invites you to take stuff out of the lounge. Not only do they have grab and go sections at each of their lounges with drinks and snacks and even things like little pre-made salads and sandwiches. So it's not just like a bag of nuts and a bottle of water. They have really thoughtful grab and go items, but they also have like little bags by like the pastry section. So if you want to grab a cookie or something for the flight, they have a bag right there for you. Whereas if you wanna do that at Centurion or Chase Sapphire, you have to kind of sneak it.
Yeah.
And
Line
that's
your
not
pockets
always the
with
best.
plastic bags.
Exactly. They also have some really cool features. Like there's a coffee bar at Dulles, and I went to that one's been open a couple years, maybe 2 years. I went to the opening of that, so I actually have not been to that one in a couple years. But they had one of the very first like full barista staffed coffee bars in a lounge, and they had a really cool machine at the time that would make like latte art. And so I had given them the Upgraded Points logo, and they made me a Upgraded Points latte, which was
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
cool.
That's cool.
JFK, which we've talked about quite a bit. I've actually been at that lounge probably 3 or 4 times in the last few months.
Oh, wow.
It has a coffee bar as well with New York bagels, which is fantastic. And
Nice.
then way in the back, they have a cheesemonger, which is just so weird and cool. I love it.
Yeah. I don't think
It
that
had
is there
been
anyone else that has that?
I don't think so. And it had been closed the first, like, handful of times I'd been there, and I was kinda like, "Is this thing real?" Like, I see it, but I it's always closed, and the last time I was there when we were on our way to Thailand, in November, it was open, and we made an appointment for a cheese tasting. They offer a full cheese tasting experience. So you go and they explain all the different cheeses, and you pick out, I forget how many, 3 or 4 a piece. Plus, so then they make you a plate with all the accoutrements with, like, the fun little dried fruits and the jams and the honey, and it's amazing. They'll do wine tastings with the cheese, or wine pairings with the cheese if you want that. It
Nice.
was just a super cool experience, so unique, and I absolutely loved it. So make sure you don't miss that. They also have at some of their lounges carts that'll come around with specialty items. I haven't seen this at JFK, but I've heard that it does exist there. I've had them come around with like espresso drinks kind of around cocktail hour that they could do with or without alcohol. I've been there when they brought around a dessert cart with teas and macarons. So it's just those little touches just make the experience so fantastic. And I was talking to, Alex, who's on our team, and he said he just visited the JFK lounge and was really impressed, and he thought it reminded him of what Centurions used to be like. And he said, you know, the service, from the moment he walked in, the checkout, everything was just top notch. And then he had mentioned the fancy carts that they come around. So it's a great experience all around. I wish the footprint was a little larger, but they're growing, and if you can access one, definitely do it, and then send Chris a snarky email.
Yeah.
We'll
Hey,
pressure him into
send me a guest pass, people.
send you a guest pass. If
Uh,
we find ourselves in the airport together before February 1st, I will
right.
guest you right in.
All right. Well, send me your schedule. We'll probably cross paths at JFK.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, let's move on to the American Express Centurion Lounges. These are the OG lounges. These really, set the tone for travel and lounges and airport lounges. Right now, there are a long list of locations, and you can find them in the U.S. in Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Denver, Houston, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. We're almost halfway there, folks. Miami, New York JFK, LaGuardia, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Francisco, Seattle, Washington Reagan, and it just opened in Salt Lake City. And if you're abroad, you still have options for Centurion Lounges at Tokyo Haneda, London Heathrow, in Hong Kong, Melbourne, Sydney, and more. There's even more coming to Newark and to Amsterdam as well. So, of the two previous ones, this is the clear winner, at least in terms of footprint. So that
Yeah,
is
you can't argue with that. The
no.
Centurion Lounge network is the biggest, no question.
Also have some guest issues. If you want to access this lounge, you will need an American Express Platinum card or the Business Platinum card. Or if you have the Delta Reserve card, you can get access when you book your Delta flight with your Reserve card. So you need to be specific about that. Now, none of those cards come with free guests. That changed a little while ago. Now it costs $50 to bring an adult guest, or $30 if you want to bring kids from 2 to age 17. Now, let me just make sure I'm reading this properly. You can only bring 2 into the lounge for free. Oh, that's right. So there's once you spend $75,000 on your card, you will then be gifted this guest access, and you can bring 2 guests with you each time. So if you spend more than $75,000 on your Amex Platinum card each year, then you will be able to bring 2 guests. So nice little perk, especially if you're already spending that money. Let's talk about some special features in these lounges because there are some pretty cool ones. In Atlanta and Tokyo, they have outdoor terraces, and we love a little outdoor terrace at the airport. Check out those planes. In Atlanta, there is a whiskey bar. At JFK, have the 1850 Speakeasy, which is a really cool little hidden bar.
Mhm.
Denver has a craft beer bar. Salt Lake City has an espresso bar now. Stella was actually just there for the opening, and she loved it. She says that a lot of these lounges are leaning into the espresso and made to order coffee drinks. She mentioned that Capital One was one of the leaders there. But in Salt Lake City, they're even using local beans. And she said if she's not eating in the lounge, and she's saving money by getting one of these nice drinks, so she doesn't have to go out into and get a Starbucks or a Dunkin' or whatever in the terminal. So she says having these little nice touches makes a difference, even if you're popping in quickly.
I
Um,
100% agree with that, and I also just like I'm not really a drinker, so the cocktails don't do it for me,
sure.
but if I can go in and get a fancy coffee, I feel like I'm winning. So I really appreciate I mean, it's great having the bar and all that stuff. I know most people really get into that, but for me, like, to have that coffee bar makes it special, so I'm really happy to see more of the lounges now kind of embracing that.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of that because in a trend in general, people are drinking less. So
Yeah.
having these, open bars may not be that, the incentive to either pay to get into the lounge, get that special card. So having these little extra perks like coffee or these, dessert trays or whatever it is walking around really needs, can differentiate a lounge.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's keep the list going. We're gonna head to Tokyo. They have a traditional Japanese sweets bar and live kitchen, which is very
Ooh.
cool.
And
And
actually,
Mexico,
someone messaged me on Threads saying that lounge was really nice. So,
really?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. You should put that on
may
your
have to check it
list
out. Yeah, I was actually
when
just
you're in
looking at my
Tokyo.
lounge options for January. I'll have some first class options because of my Platinum Pro status. So I guess I'll have to do some lounge hopping.
Oh, future episode.
Yeah. And finally, Mexico City is set up like a restaurant. Have you been to that one?
I had probably the best chilaquiles I've ever had in my life at the Mexico City
At
Centurion
the
Lounge.
airport? Oh my god.
It is my go-to breakfast when I'm in Mexico, and it was spectacular. I don't actually love because the Mexico City one is set up like a restaurant. Not my favorite. I really prefer the lounge feel because I feel like when I'm done eating at the like sort of restaurant, like I feel like they want me to leave.
Yeah.
But the food was great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Mexican food.